Hey everyone, if you're an RVer, today's video may be the most important video you'll watch all summer, especially if you're interested in learning what's happening at the highest level of the RV industry, how it trickles down from the manufacturers through the dealers, down to you and me, reflected in the final new RV prices. Now, this is going to be part one of a three-part series of information that you're not going to see or you're not going to hear anywhere else as I visit with my good friend Kevin Frazer from Cheyenne Camping Center. Now, this video series is only for smart RVers and those wanting to become smart. I'm calling it Only Smart People Will Watch This. I've often said that wisdom is something that you can't buy. It's something that comes from time and experience. And when it comes to time and experience both in the RV industry, you've had a lot. So I want you to give us some words of wisdom. What in the heck is going on in the RV market? How did we get here? Where are we going?
We got to take a little history tour, Alan. They keep me around here because allegedly I'm able to see over the next hill. Back in 2020, that was the start of the pandemic. Things were quite odd with many wrinkles that I hate to tell you I've seen before, but in different forms. The guys that run the Forest River Corporation, the big maker of RVs, are nice guys. They're honest, they're forthright, but they were getting irrationally exuberant. They were excited at the prospects for the future. And like all humans, they saw only a linear progression. That is, that RV sales were going to go up and up and up and never falter. So in the summer of 2020, I endeavored to get them a little gift to help them focus on what the future might hold. I focused on the idea of acquiring for them worry beads. Your audience doesn't know what a worry bead is.
Worry bead.
A couple of thousand years ago, they would string colorful and smooth pebbles on a string that could be worn as a bracelet, kind of looked like a mini rosary. And whenever you had to think, or more precisely, worry about what was happening, you could take a hold of those stones and run them through your fingers while you thought about what you had to think about. I set about to acquire those. I knew that the very best ones were made in Australia, but I contacted the Australian maker and they were sold out of worry beads. They had nothing to offer. They were completely sold out. So then I looked in Greece and I looked in Turkey and they were sold out too. This is where worry beads were invented. And I just did a general search and found that I could buy some very high quality worry beads in Belgium at a shop in Brussels. So I placed my order, and a few weeks later, they came by the post, and I gave them to the gentlemen who run the divisions at Forest River to remind them that they should be worrying. Now, as we
hang on, this was 3 years ago. This was like in the summer.
3 years ago, the summer of 20. They got them in July of 2020. And one of the fellows
you did see over the hill that the good times were.
What I didn't see is much worse. But in the summer of 2020, we had just gone through, our industry was shut down, but we had a couple of good governors. We had a good governor here in Iowa, so we didn't shut down. We had a good governor in Indiana, so they could keep working. But a lot of our stuff came from Michigan, and that whole state was just shuttered. And people say to me, well, where did all this inflation come from? Well, when you get a chance, ask a politician what money is. They don't really know. Money is an IOU from any society economy that you receive in exchange for creating wealth. If you are an individual that puts the plumbing in a house, or you plow a field and harvest the crops, or you dig up some coal, you get paid, and that's an IOU from society to you because you created wealth, you created goods and services. Now, what happened because of the shutdowns is that a lot of people were told they couldn't work, but it's okay, we'll send you money. Now, money that is just sent out from the government that doesn't represent any creation of anything that is useful is inflationary. It erodes, averages into the crops that were plowed and the coal that was dug, and just causes the entire price level to go up because the government's creating and showering money on people.
Right.
Okay, well, I saw the inflation nascent, and I knew that was coming. And so I told the bosses at Forest River that yes, you probably are going to have a year or two of 600,000 unit builds, but then inflation's going to raise its ugly head, and that's going to cut into what happens. I told them over and over again that inflation causes recessions. But then when you have that recession, price levels have to go backwards, and deflation causes depression. I told them over and over again, and they did take some heed and made some preparations. And Forest River is very, very much stronger than their primary competitors, Winnebago and Thor, because they did take some precautions, but then things started to change again. So you say, oh, you could see 3 years. No. Business was booming in the last half of 2020, and business was booming in the first half of 2021, and was doing pretty well in the last half of 2021. And those that were exuberant were still quite over the moon. But we didn't have any inventory. We couldn't build up any yards. We didn't have any goods that we could sell instantly to people. And our firm, we don't take any deposits from people except under special circumstances. We tell them, come and pick it up within 30 days, and we will collect your money after you've inspected and accepted. Well, that policy had to change because we didn't have anything on the ground. So we had photographs, and we would tell folks, well, study the photographs and get in line. In the last half of 2021, our firm sold hundreds of units probably more, that were on approval when they arrived. We would take a client's name and make a commitment to them, but they weren't committed until they inspected and accepted. Now, this is all part of our business plan from 001. Back in 01, the first page says, Cheyenne Camping Center pursues the smart customer. Those that want to be deceived can go to another dealer. We trusted the buyers, but also remember, we're focusing on the smart ones. So we had hundreds of units in the system. They would show up. We would call the folks to tell them they're there. We'd make the arrangements. They would come for the show and tell. They would accept, and then they would complete the contract and pay us. And then the thing that I didn't see, February 24 of 22, Vladimir Putin invaded the Ukraine. I did not see Mount Putin. And Mount Putin was like a giant circuit breaker switch in the basement. It shut off all the power. Nothing happened after Putin invaded except that gasoline prices went up above $5. You remember?
Oh, absolutely.
We had 185 cancellations in the first week.
Oh my! Hang on, just a second. So since 2001. Your policy has been, I go online, I find Flagstaff, whatever. I like it. I contact you. I say, I want that unit. You didn't make me pay anything up front. You just held it for 30 days until I showed up, made sure it was exactly everything was right. And then I'd give you the money. Then I would buy it. Then I was committed. So and that's worked until Mount Putin showed up.
We're going for the smart ones, Alan. People want to lay hands on something. They want to examine it. We have exceptions to that. If somebody orders a bespoke unit that's like odd or outside our norm, or if it's their very last of one ever, then there's exceptions. But during the period that they can't build them fast enough because the supply chains are all screwed up, we expanded that policy, not to come within 30 days because we didn't have the trailer waiting for them. We expanded it to come within 30 days after it arrives. In some cases, we're waiting 6 months for the trailer to get built. Now, if you have a client that wants something to use in the warm weather months, and that's most of North America, you could take an order in October, and if it took 6 months to get built, that was just about right.
But why didn't you just cancel your orders at the factory? If you had 180 something people said, hey, I'm out. Why didn't you just call up Forest River and say, hey, we don't want those things? I mean, most dealers,
that's what every other dealer did.
I know.
Ellen, that's what every other dealer did. That's why there were so many unsold 22s floating around. We expect our manufacturer, Forest River, to trust us, and we trust them. And so our policy is, if it's scheduled, if it's been assigned a VIN number, this only happened because of this screwball pandemic thing, that we will not stick you with them. You're not going to have a yard full of stuff that you can't get rid of. We're not going to cause Forest River harm. Was it their fault there was a pandemic? Was it their fault that there was a war in Eastern Europe? No. Did it hurt Cheyenne? Yes. Was Cheyenne preparing for this? Oh, yeah. We saw something bad coming. But I thought that we would have that inflation causes a recession, then we drift in. It would be a slow thing. There's a formula that I developed. A 3% price increase will reduce sales velocity by 25%. It's nearly inviolate. It is, however, erosive. The passage of time causes its effects to negate. Now, in late 2021, we were seeing 3% every quarter or more. After 4 quarters of that would take your demand to zero, but it didn't because there were so many other weird things going on, right?
Right.
So here we hit. I'm figuring it's going to slow down because the demand's been so strong. People are patient. We trusted them. We did what we said we would do. And then Putin crossed the border towards Kiev. Then we have 185 cancellations. We didn't cancel any of them at Forest River. Our lot got a little bulgy, and we were in a situation where the market just essentially stopped. Nobody saw Putin. Nobody saw that you could unwind slowly. It just happened. And yeah, that cost a lot, but we were preparing for this. And then we burned off our 22 inventory. I think maybe Forest River is too generous in their policies about cancellations, but this is what's happened since then. A lot of dealers canceled a lot of 22s, and we bought them at a discount. And we've been selling the hell out of them and making pretty good deals.
So that's why I see the prices on your website are like, you gotta be kidding me. I mean, seriously.
Yeah, they're quite remarkable. And we're in a period. We will return to normal order, but I don't think any time before calendar 24. We're talking about this in July. I am now seeing something. Forest River shouldn't have allowed this to happen. Forest River trusted their dealers on the 2023s. Remember, yards are bulgy, but not with travel trailers per se, fifth wheels, motorhomes that are still 22s. A lot of dealers started ordering.
When you say yards are bulging, whose yards?
Not Forest Rivers. Not Forest Rivers. And also not the plants, the factories at Forest River are not bulging. They're okay, but I'm going to tell you about the 23 problems they got now. And the Thor people cleaned out all their yards in the first quarter of this year. They sold all their 22s. And Winnebago, that's also Grand Design. I'm not quite sure. My brother was at the factory and saw yards filled with fifth wheels, the factories. Oh, by the way, very few factories are even operating. About 70% are shut down completely, and nobody's running a 5-day week. All of that being said, your audience should know that we're coming up on possibly the best bargain of the whole grand crazy cycle. And that's because at least Forest River, and I imagine the other guys did too, trust. It's a loosey football deal. If you cancel all your 22s because of Putin, and then you ordered 23s to replace them, and you didn't pick up your 23s, that's shame on you, shame on me kind of deal. Anyway, we are now here in July of 2023 acquiring 23s at sharp discounts. Why'd they even build them? Because the dealers ordered them. And the dealers kept telling them, we're going to pick them up. We're going to pick them up. And they never pick them up. And now that the 24 model year is scheduled to start, it's supposed to start in the month of July, but it's going to be late this year. Now they're offering me 23s at a severe bargain. So if your audience is, just keep an eye on our webpage. As we get the deals, we'll put them up. and they should be fine.
You heard right. Not only are the remaining new 2022s drastically discounted, but also the 2023s that are on many dealer lots are being marked way, way down, especially at Cheyenne Camping Center. If you enjoyed hearing Kevin's perspective, I hope you'll tune in to my next video. He'll be talking about private brand RVs. You may have heard about them. And I bet you when you hear it, you're going to go, wow! And not in a good way. Again, for many, this video series is going to be the most important, most revealing interview of the state of the RV industry that you'll watch all summer long. Please give it a like and share it with everyone who wants to become the smartest buyer, smartest RVer possible. I'll see you next time.